Right, if everyone is good to go, let's get started. Hi, I'm Suki from HappyMaven, and today I'm really happy to be joined by Selin Yigitbasi-Ducker from Goodsted. So it feels like a very happy Friday to me. Not only have you joined us, but we get to end Mental Health Awareness Week on a really motivating and positive note. What better topic than doing good feels good? And I don't know where you all are dialing in from. I imagine most of you are dialing in from home. So you'll be surprised to know that today is actually National Work from Home Day in the UK. And the only reason I mention that when it is our lived reality, that we have found in the last year that working with many different clients, one of the unexpected consequences of this last year has been that companies are encouraging and supporting local initiatives. They're supporting employee-led volunteering programs because, of course, we're not commuting. We're not having to get from A to B. So over the next 30 minutes, I'm so happy that you're joining me and Selin as we outline the personal, the community, and the business benefits of individual volunteering, but also of wider volunteering programs for all of us. We're also going to open up the discussion to your experiences, your individual and collective experiences. Please, in the meantime, use the chat function. We'd really like to know why you've joined us. And we'd like to not only know, what you want from this session, but we really want to know what it is that you need from us over the next few weeks and over the next few months for your own volunteering programs. This session is being recorded, but I will obviously defer to all of you. When we come to the discussion, I am more than happy to stop recording. This session is for you, and we want you to make the most of it. So before I hand over to Selin to introduce herself, I just want to give you a little bit of background to me, to HappyMaven, and to why we've convened this session today. So for those of you who are not familiar with HappyMaven and the work that we do, we are diversity, inclusion, and wellbeing specialists. We advise and support HR and leadership teams with their people initiatives. And from day one of our existence, CSR has been an integral part of our well-being and of our inclusion recommendations. At HappyMaven, this sounds really sort of, big and vast, but our mission is to make the world of work better for people. And as a company, we do practice what we preach. We make pro bono commitments, and we subsidize our wellbeing work with the public and with the non-profit sector. But why is this so important to us? Why has it always been part of our mission? And I guess the answer to that lies with me. As the founder, I'm the one that said this was important to us, and that's what we've carried on living. All good origin stories, start in childhood, and mine started with the concept of seva. For those of you unfamiliar with the Sikh faith, seva is one of the basic tenets of the faith. So if I translated it into English, it essentially means service. It means service to God, service to others, service to the community. So from my earliest memories, I saw volunteering as a fundamental part of life. It wasn't an add-on. It wasn't something that you did when you found the spare time. It wasn't something that you left until retirement. I saw volunteering my time, my talents, and even money as a key element of my identity. It's a part of my DNA. And I'm sure it's the same for many of you, whether you were a brownie, a scout, a girl guide, you did the Duke of Edinburgh Award. That community spirit, that community service, that volunteering was instilled in us. And for me, I can honestly say, I tried to embody the Gandhi quote, be the change you wish to see in the world. And the truth is that I got far more out of volunteering than I probably put in. In the darker and more challenging times of my life, volunteering has been a lifeline to me. It's helped me to connect to my purpose. It's helped me to contribute to something bigger than myself. And at its most simple level, volunteering has reminded me what it means to be human. And on that note, I'd like to hear I'll hand over to Selin and hear about her story and what brought her to this place. Selin, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all here on a Friday morning. I have my water, no coffee. So I'm the founder of Goodsted. And those of you who don't know us, we have a digital platform to help companies engage their employee skills and expertise with social and environmental initiatives. And on a larger scale, our mission is to create an easy way for individuals and organizations to collaborate for social impact. And so how did I get here? So back in 2017, around September time, I had graduated from my master's in design and innovation. And to be honest, I was not in a great state of well-being wise, and I won't go into details, but this led me to take some time for myself instead of finding a full-time job. So what I started to do was help my family business part-time while looking for volunteering opportunities. And I was reading a lot about sustainable development goals, and I wanted to take action and contribute in some way. And what I wanted to do was to use my design, marketing, and project management skills to help social environmental projects. As I was thinking, while helping the projects, I also wanted to demonstrate what I could do and develop my portfolio. So what I did was I searched on Google, I asked friends, I asked my university, and I first started to contact projects through crowdfunding websites, and it was so difficult to reach them. And I finally found a couple of projects who I helped with small tasks, and a friend introduced me to someone who had a community project actually near Lewisham. And it was relating to circular economy, and what they needed to do was to help get their project off the ground and do a pilot. And they were trying to raise money as well through crowdfunding, and were struggling. So I said, okay, I want to help you. And I suggested, how about I share my skills to help them set the pilot up and try to find other volunteers and space and products for this. So at the end, we had gathered almost 20 people in a month's time, and a couple of businesses to help, and a total value of more than 20,000 pounds worth of support. And it was so funny actually, because I kept track of everything on spreadsheets, and I set a website up for them to communicate the idea to individuals and businesses to ask for their support. And yeah, this is where Goodsted originated from. And I must say the experience of helping someone make their project a reality was a great source of happiness for me, and it kind of took me, got me back up from where I was. And I realized that there are many individuals who wanted to help these types of initiatives, and it helps them with their well-being and helps them develop their skills. There are also businesses as well who want to give their time and skills as well. So I just decided to keep going with it. Yeah, so that's how I began.
I absolutely love that, Selin. And it touches upon something that I always try to stress to people. We think about volunteering as purely altruistic. It's a one-way street. Look at what we're doing for others. Whereas the reality is it's about what it also gives back to us. And like I said, I can honestly say I have always received far more from volunteering than I feel like I've ever contributed. And I'd love to illustrate a little bit more about that. What is it that we actually get from volunteering? Is it something that we can actually quantify? And the truth is, yes, we can. But the first thing I want to say before we start talking about what it is that we get at a human level from volunteering, for the purposes of this session, because when we talk about giving of ourselves, that's a very, very, very broad church. So I'm specifically going to talk about our talents and our time. So that's what I'm going to focus on. But before I even do that, I'm also going to say to everybody that's joined this call that before you can be selfless, you need to be selfish. Many of you on this call, if not all of you, have probably found that you're running on empty this last 15 months. You have been asked to be all things to all people. And now you're joining a session where I'm telling you to do even more. And you're like, I'm done. So one of the first places I ask you to start is with yourself. This is talking about volunteering as an extension of who you are, for you to think about your core values and how you can consciously bring them to life through volunteering. So this isn't about you feeling under obligations, because we all have those. We all have those commitments, that this is something that is an extension of you. So that's the first thing that I would say, is to go withdraw into yourself, tap into what your core values are. And that's the place that I'd like you to start from when we think about contributing our talents and our time. And I'm going to look at volunteering through the lens of giving, through the art of giving. And like I've said, we often think about that as altruism, that it's given from the heart without any expectation of something in return. But the truth is, this is proven to do wonders for our well-being, for us individually, and then, of course, it ripples out. It supports other people around us. So that is why I think Selin used the word happiness, because giving and happiness are deeply connected. On a very physiological level, when we volunteer, when we give, when we're contributing something that feels aligned to our values, it actually makes us happy because our brain's pleasure circuits are stimulated. They're stimulated by acts of charity. They release our fabulous chemicals that we've all really missed in the last 15 months. They release endorphins. They give us a sense of euphoria. We get oxytocin, the love chemical. And that, of course, helps to promote tranquility and inner peace, because we're plugged into something bigger than us. And carrying on that physiological level, it works upon our body health. As we all know, stress is a precursor to many, many health issues. When we volunteer, when we give, research has shown that it helps to reduce anxiety, it helps to reduce our blood pressure, and it helps to reduce and mitigate stress. And of course, as we're reduced in stress, we feel like we're just performing better, we're functioning better, our conversations, our collaborations, our communication becomes stronger. To me, one of the biggest factors of volunteering, of giving, is that promotion of social connection. How isolated have many of us felt over the last 15 months? It is as if we're living at a very, very functional level. When we're volunteering, not only are we decreasing isolation, because volunteering by its very nature normally means collaborating with other people, but it's promoting social connections, and sometimes social connections outside of our bubbles, outside of our socioeconomic bubbles or our demographic bubbles. We meet people from different generations, and it really does embed and sort of enshrine those social connections. And as I've said, it's a ripple effect that more and more studies have shown that when we give, when we volunteer, when we connect with others, our generosity is often continued down the line for someone else. You know, how many times have we heard that expression, we pay it forward? And that's what volunteering becomes. It becomes quite contagious, that once we are giving, once we are contributing, we inspire others to do the same. So whether that's others within our family group, within our local area, within our team at work, it all has a knock-on effect. And quite simply, as the title of this session says, you know, doing good feels good. It's a gift that does keep on giving. We've even come across research, but unfortunately, I haven't really been able to drill down into the terms of reference for it. But there's even research that once we're at a certain level of income, once we're at a certain level of financial security, volunteering actually makes us more happy than having an extra, you know, whack in our pay packet. That there is, you can actually quantify it at that level, that once our, you know, basic financial needs are met, volunteering is actually more than extra money. And it isn't just about our personal well-being, and like I say, of course, those around us, but it also can support employers and organizations to become healthier. We talk about CSR, we talk about that corporate social responsibility, and more we talk about sustainability. But what does that mean if we're not supporting our people to be passionate about the causes that are dear to their hearts? So I'm going to hand over to Selin to share a little bit more about the business case, and also for some great ideas on how volunteering programs can really be effective within your organizational health. Thank you, Selin.
Perfect. Thank you, Suki, for this amazing summary of the benefits of volunteering on a well-being and a personal level. And there are actually so many benefits, both individually as well as on a business level. So what I'm going to do is give you a short overview of the business case. And actually, companies can benefit from all the different sides of volunteering if the programs of giving the talent and time are implemented effectively. I won't go into too much detail about the pitfalls and best practices in the interest of time, but we can also talk about it later in the question answer if you're interested. So first of all, the volunteering and employees giving their time and talent is shown to contribute to employees' well-being, as Suki mentioned, but also the engagement, the satisfaction levels. And this is shown that the companies in the top quartile of the employee engagement realize 21% higher profitability. And this is kind of a statistic that convinces a lot of higher management, I guess. And then there are 3 key points that you can share with your companies about the business case. 1, it increases loyalty and retention, reducing turnover. It increases employee productivity and satisfaction. And finally, it's helpful to enhance your employer brand and attract great talent. And there's a lot of research done on this, and a lot of great, interesting stats. And again, if it's going to help you get these in a small deck, we're also happy to share them. But just to mention a few, in terms of loyalty, from Forbes, actually 83% of employees would be more loyal to a company that helps them contribute. This is just one stat. And 92% of human resource managers that were surveyed agree that contributing business skills and expertise to a nonprofit can be an effective way to improve employee leadership and broader professional skill sets. So this is another great point. And the other research shows that giving time and giving talent and time helps employees give more effort to their jobs, and they are more willing to help out their colleagues, talk more positively about their companies, and they are less likely to do detrimental things like wasting time on the job. This is, another research. So this is all around the employee productivity and satisfaction. And finally, about the enhancing the employer brand and attracting great talent. A research that LinkedIn did actually shows a positive employer brand can reduce turnover by 28% and attract 50% more qualified prospects. And a research that Deloitte did very recently last year says 61% of millennials wanting to work for a company that offers volunteering opportunities. So these seem to be all great research that will help convince your companies about starting a volunteering program. And actually, when you think about the investment required to start a volunteering program and the cost of turnover for the company, it seems like a no-brainer to make the investments, because it costs an average of about 15 to 20,000 pounds apparently to replace one employee who leaves the company. But depending on the size of the company, it will only cost them a total of like maybe 900 pounds to a maximum 10,000 pounds a year to implement a full volunteering program that kind of helps with the benefits and retain hundreds of employees. So so this is the business case. And we can maybe move into the discussion, or I can also mention a little bit more about like the best practices of running a volunteering program, but I would like to perhaps open it as a discussion, and can also give more information if anyone's interested.
I think a discussion is great at this time, because I really want to come to Rachel and to Nina for the 2 points that they've shared in the chat. But before I say that, Maria, I love your wallpaper. I just have to say that first. Rachel, lovely to see you again. So Rachel's, I'm going to let you say what you've said in the chat, Rachel.
So I work for a company called Informa. So we do many things. Amongst one is events, which I work in. Sadly, the section I work in is aviation events as well. So we have been hit on a double whammy with the old corona as well. Traditionally, my job is travel manager as well, which has been very quiet at the moment. But we have a wonderful staff committee, which is a voluntary thing. So we have really worked on diversity this year. And one of the things that we would like to increase on mainly for the camaraderie and things that we're missing from working online is the volunteering opportunities. But I've been finding it quite hard to find places that we can do as a corporate event and things like that. So it was just more my interest today were how to get people engaged from a business perspective as well. So any tips on that would be greatly received.
Great point. Selin? Selin?
Hi, sorry, I was on mute. So Rachel, that's a great point. So you're mentioning that you're having difficulty finding opportunities and going out and doing stuff all together as an event. And we see that as well. That's coming up, obviously due to COVID. And what we've been seeing is ways in which companies and charities and actually impact startups who we support, we moved all the support into virtual spaces right now. So hosting the events virtually and using our skills and talent to help them with certain tasks that can progress with their goals. So obviously it doesn't have the same effect maybe of the camaraderie like when you go out and do stuff together in a physical space, but there are certain tools and techniques that you can use, and still bringing people together on a Zoom space is better than not having these events happen. And I think we're going to be seeing, now that places are starting to open and hopefully we're going to start getting back together again, we'll yeah, hopefully have more opportunities where we can meet outside and yeah, help the charities we want to help. Chloe, also we have Chloe, who's our impact and partner success manager here, so she can also answer a few questions if she has anything she wants to say in her mind.
Thank you, Selin. And Nina, I think your question really follows on from Rachel's question and from Selin's answer. Would you like to come off mute and to ask your question?
Absolutely. Thank you, Suki. And thank you, Selin, as well for this session this morning. Very interesting. So mine really does build on the back of that. And I'm curious because, you know, you're front and center of seeing what volunteering opportunities are coming out, you know, what's available, where are people seeking, you know, help. And one of the things that I'm quite interested is, do you see a trend that we're moving away from perhaps going to a youth centre and painting it, or going to, you know, a care home and doing the garden, to a more virtual sense of support? And what are those opportunities looking like? You know, particularly for our organisation, most people won't be going back into the office, so we probably won't be gathering as a group together in the same way. So just curious what you see as a trend and what some examples are of virtual volunteering.
Yeah, exactly, definitely.
Sorry, Selin, can I just jump in there before I hand over to you? Sorry. Because I really find that question really interesting. And in our experience, Nina, over the last 15 months, CSR has gone from something held by the ELT. So it's held very much from sort of a brand perspective as to what those partnerships looked like. It was a projection of how you wanted to be perceived. Nothing wrong with that, but it was held there and then it trickled down. Over the last 15 months, it has become employee-led. So it could be, so what we have found in the UK, it is, I am volunteering my time at the food bank and my employer is, you know, still paying my salary for the half a day that I've taken. In India at the moment, it is people collecting money for oxygen cylinders. We have a lot of our clients are based in Israel. So again, you know, different challenges. It has become very much more local and very much more personal, that there has been a lot more empowering of employees to do what you want to do, and I will support you. So whether it is a time to give program, whether it is financially matching in kind, it feels that it's far more organic now than it ever has been. So at that point, I'll hand over to Selin for trends.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, Suki. In terms of like before this, companies were kind of choosing what they wanted to do or what they thought would be good for the company's image and mission and purpose, and then chose a charity and then gathered everyone together to go and help that charity. And as Suki mentioned, now it's becoming that more employees, because employees are all have different interests, different passions, they connect with the causes in their own way. And obviously the causes need to align with the company mission and purpose as well. But also companies are now seeming to like give their employees a bit more flexibility around what they want to do. Obviously that has some kind of pain points around how you would manage that type of a program. But in terms of the kind of the trends we see in terms of the virtual volunteering, as you mentioned, Nina, as the going out and doing things together was more of a like non-skilled based volunteering, we call it. And when it's online on a virtual level, it's much easier to help charities and impact startups with your skills and talents. So we see different types of brainstorming sessions happening to help them with specific questions they have in their minds, or if you, let's say, if you're a group of people who have great marketing design skills and strategy skills, you can help them come up with a great fundraising campaign. So there are different types of things that can be done. And very interestingly, actually, before even COVID, we were doing a lot of research with charities who had opportunities, like non-skilled opportunities for gardening and doing all these different things. And they were saying they have so many other struggles that require skills and expertise which they cannot afford. They would love for companies to help them with those types of things as well. But then companies, obviously everyone's thinking, you know, I'm doing this day to day, I want to go out and do something else which is more fun and team building and stuff. So some employees also rather do that. But yeah, we're trying to like show that using your skills and talents can also be quite fun, and applying it in another industry can also give you more creativity and innovation with what you're doing. And actually, yeah, it's generally quite interesting to learn about what these charities and impact startups are helping, and helping them really makes you feel very strong and like you're proud of your skill sets and stuff. So I think it's good to do this, and I'm happy that actually it's going more towards this side of things, because we can see there's real impact that can be created when you use your expertise and talent.
Thank you, Selin. I'm very conscious of time. We really should have scheduled a much longer session. Maria, you have patiently had your hand up. If everyone's okay just going over time, you know, thank you for your patience. Maria.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask, from the business case perspective, is there some kind of sort of sweet spot where there's like a trade-off between the amount of time that the business is committing to people volunteering and the amount of those kind of business impacts that are realized?
In terms of like, some businesses restrict to 1 day of volunteering, and I feel like when you give 1 day, you don't really, like, you can create positive impact. But I feel like the businesses who leave it flexible for employees to choose what they want to do, and then also businesses who give like 5 to 7 days, really see the benefits for the business case on the other side. And I don't know, Suki, if you have any other thoughts about it, or Chloe.
In my experience, Maria, our most progressive organizations give up to 10 days. So I think no one's gone beyond that for there to be enough data to go, is there a point at which the return on investment just isn't there? And to me, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that from a well-being and inclusion perspective. Can we be too inclusive and too well? I'd love to see a world where that's a challenge that I'm facing from clients.
No, totally. I mean, like, it feels like from a kind of cultural perspective, like this is something that you want to embed on a kind of recurring rhythm. I was just wondering whether there's any kind of, you know, is a couple of hours a month better than a day a quarter, that kind of trade-off?
Yeah, what we've seen actually is like longer term partnerships and relationships with charities and impact startups is most helpful to them, and also for the business case. Because when you help in a short term one-off just 1 day and you leave it and not talk to them again until next year, or maybe you never talk to them again, you don't really see the benefits of, you know, how you help them. And then, you know, because you don't see the impact of your support, that's like lowers the meaningfulness about the whole thing. So yeah.
I would even do it from the other perspective. My background is non-profit. You do more harm than good helicoptering in and disrupting my organization for a day because you want to do something. You want to, you know, have an Instagram post. You cause far more disruption to my operations. So from all of those angles, is it just a PR opportunity, or is it sustainable change? So on that note, I'm really conscious of time. I really wanted us to end with some positive commitments that each of us individually make as to how we're going to continue this conversation into the real world. But I am respectful of your time and your Friday morning, so we can happily keep this conversation going in the real world, on LinkedIn, in the chat. Thank you all so much for joining. Selin and I will be in touch with sort of the follow-ups from this session, the key takeaways. Thank you for joining today. Have a lovely and safe weekend wherever you are. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.